Before we get into this, I need you to listen to this episode through one very specific lens because I think so many women want to build shape, get leaner, you want to feel tighter, more defined, even feel stronger and feel like your body isn't fighting you every step of the way there. One thing that I always see is the only progress metric that many women look for or talk about is the scale and photos. We are sold these glamorous timelines when it comes to body recomposition where you want to actually change your physique, change your shape. You want to actually get tighter, see definition, not put the weight back on, not live on what feels like abysmal calories. And anything more than that, well, you're playing with fire again because it feels like you're just gaining fat. This is something I am so passionate about. I want you guys to get results. I want you guys to stop feeling like your body just isn't responding. It's against you. You need this next thing. But I think many of the times we're not actually thinking at all. We're too caught up in the pursuit. We're too in this, why does this keep happening to me? Why am I still repeating the same cycle? If you're in the level of awareness, that's just like, I know that this isn't serving me. Why am I finding myself trapped in this? But then there's like the conflict of thought where I want to be able to just build muscle. I want to see the changes, but the cardio makes me feel like I'm actually getting leaner. I'm actually tightening up and toning. But no, like it is not taught out there just how different it is to train and to eat for body recomposition than it is to just see smaller pant sizes, lighter scale weight, looking less fluffy or de-bloating your stomach. Regardless, that aside, let's get into the heart of this because honestly, I think this is one of the biggest reasons why so many of you stay stuck in the same cycle because it feels real. I know if you are listening to this, you probably do you most likely do want your body to look different and you do want fat loss in some capacity. You also want to feel leaner. You want your stomach to feel tighter. You want your legs to actually look different for once because they are probably the most stubborn and they're the easiest to feel like they just get puffy and bulky and you wonder how exactly are they meant to get that leaner, sculptly look. You probably want to look like you train. And if you want to look like you train, then we need to focus on the training part. But that's not what I'm here to just tell you about at the moment because I'm not here to pretend that it's shallow or wrong because you're very much allowed to look good, to want to change your body. And if anything, I want you to. I want you to demand more of yourself. I want you to chase the utmost version of yourself, one that is confident and bold, one that owns the room, that owns her space, that stands up, that has the confidence, not the one that's like shy in the corners, missing out on opportunities, not the one that hates showing up in family photos. I want you to be that person that you've always wanted to be. And it is very hard to do that when every voice inside of you is tearing apart. And that's where I want you to be informed through this by understanding how things are connected. And I don't want to just say, no, this is the reality. I want to explain to you why you feel the way you do because someone telling you, oh, just focus on getting stronger, just build muscle, just eat more. It's very difficult when your actual lived experience is that you feel soft, uncomfortable, puffy, frustrated, and like still your body isn't reflecting that effort. It can feel like they're not hearing you, but as a coach on the other side, I hear you, we hear you, we see you. Good coaches, that is. That's why I want to get really clear that I am never going to say stop wanting fat loss. It's not a let's just jack up your calories and your body just boom, metabolism. No, it's a process. I will never stop emphasizing the importance of training because if we only look at the result, if we're only chasing the results, that isn't going to give us results. We need to look at the things that create it. And it's not just doing the things, but how we do them and how they progress over time consistently because your body doesn't get tighter because we stare at our check-in photos harder because we gawk at the scale every morning or we impatiently wait for it to change. Like waiting for change to happen doesn't make it happen any faster. Your body doesn't suddenly look more athletic because you jumped into another deficit to lean out a little because you built some muscle in the last 6 month build that you want to see what you built because muscle is a slow process. And this is what one of my clients said this week that made me go, yeah, this is the thing. Like this conversation is real and raw. I am going to bring in some client examples because progress is not just what you see physically. And the way that she said it, it really just hit me, which is why I picked up my phone and started talking. Because training progress, training quality, it's not a nice to have. It's not a, oh, that's cool. This makes me feel good. It's a, no, it's a must have if body change is what you want. You will not get body change without it. The training quality is what creates the physical outcomes. Nothing builds shape. Nothing creates definitional tightness outside of muscle. And no amount of protein, no amount of eating more, no amount of any macro Tetris game is going to build muscle. That is training. That is getting stronger, improving form, squatting deeper, lifting with better execution. And eventually, the things stack up in your flavor. But the one thing I want you to know is that a lot of women, the thing that you're measuring is not the thing that's going to build the body you want, which in itself is the biggest trap because we first need to know where to look. And once you change your focus to that, the whole journey changes. Showing up to a session well fueled with an intention in mind for where your program is going, where you are going, you're not going to know that straight away. This is something that is built in the process of you going through the process, improving in the process, realizing what you enjoy chasing. Because if your whole week is judged by did the scale drop, did my photos look better, did my stomach look flatter, did my pants feel looser, was I good with my food, did I hit all my macros to the T, your brain is going to keep sabotaging you because what you focus on expands. If you're going to keep focusing on where your tummy is at or not, it's going to become a bigger issue too, and it's only going to make it harder. And that's why it is so crucial to understand this process. That's why the words that my clients used are worth me talking about on this podcast, because you will feel like nothing is working when those things don't give you a little pat on the head. You're going to want to cut again, clean things up again, maybe think you need to be a little bit stricter, because that scoreboard is the very thing that is keeping you stuck. Sometimes the scoreboard ends up messing up the whole play, if not completely destroying the play of the game. And if you're not on the field, there's no game at all. Then you're back to the start again. If you keep your eye on the scoreboard, you're going to miss the ball, you're going to miss the shot, which is pretty much what the social media world is victimizing us into. So this is the message to you. I don't want you to fall into the trap that the only thing that's productive, that feels like progress, is something that gives you immediate feedback. Because training is not the side quest. It can't be something that just happens in the background while you're so focused on what your food's doing, what the scale's doing, how your body feels on any one day. Training isn't just there so you can check a workout out or lift weights from A to B or say I worked out or just increase the load on the bar. The training has to be intentional. And once you make it so, you start to change the meaning of the game and you start to see meaning in that. You start to see progress in that. And that's the biggest message of all, because training is the signal. Food supports that. Protein supports that. And carbs support that. Recovery supports that. I get so passionate about training videos in particular because of this. When I see my clients improving in their form, it gets to be exciting. But many times it's not even our fault, because when we're pretty much mimicking or taught what matters in our check-ins with our coaches, when you've had coaches in the past or have them now, and it's what's your scale weight, what's your compliance, where were your macros, let's go all in on your food, let's go all in on what your scale's doing, oh cool, your progress photos, this, that, yep, tick. Whereas if the focus was entirely on what truly matters for changing your physique, the ones that, okay, well, what's your life look like? Cool, I do look at food. I look at all of that lifestyle stuff because it all matters. It all has a place. But it's the training that is doing the work. Nothing else is going to do that. That's one thing that I really want you to keep in mind. Just ask yourself, hey, is my training giving my body something to adapt to? Because it's that adaptation that you want. Most women that I know aren't searching the internet for hypertrophy, training quality. You're wanting a tighter waist, leaner look. And that's exactly what this episode is starting from, because this is the way that it's not as sexy, but it kind of is because it means that you're not really doing anything wrong per se. It's that you were taught the wrong game book. And it also means that you now have so much more power to change. The mirror is a delayed result. It will change, but it's the reps that are where the result is built. Progress photos, I like to say, show what has already happened. They show the past accumulated up until now. They then just change really freaking slowly. But if we look at the training videos, they show what's happening. They show our capacity to change. Once your training capacity in itself improves, builds, you're lifting more weight for more reps over time because you're stronger, because you have more ability to do high quality work for a longer period of time. It's just that now we need to stop judging our muscle building goals by the same fat loss tools, although I should really say beliefs and understandings, because that is kind of all we know. And this time, it has all the power to be different, because now you're way more aware of the role of muscle in this. You want the body that muscle creates. And I know you know that. It's just very difficult to not rush back to the same behaviors that kind of stop us building it, because I like to say they feel safer, where they kind of do. They're more rewarding. So we get to feel like change is happening. It's not like this, but what if? But we can't expect to see change on the same timeline. That's the only reason we revert back to dieting. You don't have to love feeling less lean, but you do need to tolerate parts of the build. If the goal you have is this changed physique, you'll actually become to just not even think about it anymore over time. That's only if you stop leaving one foot out the door. That aside, if there's one thing that I want you to take from this podcast, I hope you really listen to the words that my clients say, because they impacted me, and I hope they impact you the same way. I was in that position too, too stubborn to change, because there's that. But your body isn't going to change just because you keep checking whether it has. You need to build the thing that creates the change. Like I said, photos, macros, they have a place. Although I would actually pose that gym selfies, they're so much more realistic for body recomp progress because they show your body in movement. The scale, I'm just going to say it does not do much here at all except destroy your focus, because it's going to go up, down, and for some people it's going to need to go up for a while. But just remember that scale weight is not fat weight, and that's why it can screw the whole scoreboard and destroy the play of the game. If you want body recomposition, we need to start measuring reps, range of motion, the actual effort, the form, the progression. You need to get on a proper training program and have it tailored to you over time, because progression isn't random. Progression isn't just let's increase the weight, let's change the reps and sets. It's so much more. We need an ability to repeat this for long enough, consistently, giving that same effort, increased effort even, but it's kind of like the same effort because you get stronger, long enough for the mirror to then reflect that, because you cannot reveal muscle you haven't built, and you cannot build it by just staring at the scale harder or doing more cardio, the usual comfortable stuff we do. 3 of my clients this week highlighted the sheer importance of this. And I just wish more people knew about it, because there are so many women who are stuck in like this diet rut, this forever slashing calories, trying to get leaner, trying to get tighter, more toned, always struggling with their belly fat. And it's just this ongoing round and round washing machine of a sort until you hit perimenopause, where it all just literally turns to shit and goes downhill. Like a storm took over and everything just exploded. It's kind of funny though, the way she said it is so amazingly perfect that I need to read it out. I now understand why it's important to see progress is also getting stronger, improving form, squatting lower, except progress needs to be more than just seeing physical results and expecting it, because it'll take time. And if I stay focused on this alone, I won't feel like I'm progressing, as it'll be a slow process. It is huge, because it's not about it just being important to see it as progress is also getting stronger. also improving form, also actually squatting to depth and not doing little bumpy things that I see so many people doing in like leg presses, squat machines, glutifying everything. It's like we exchange one obsession of the scale to the logbook, or just have both, because we always have to feel like there is just the main message here is it's not about also seeing it as, or I won't feel like I'm progressing as it's a slow process. It's not going to be any type of progress if you're not focusing on squatting deeper, training technique, proper form, getting stronger, improving form. Because if your form isn't there and if you don't put the work into bracing, into learning how to use your lats, into knowing how to use your core and things, there is no progress. Literally. You're going to keep hitting bottlenecks in your training. You're never going to get strong enough. You're never going to see progress continue to go up. Like, yeah, okay, weights can go up. You'll probably see it and you'll be like, I'm getting stronger. But is that because you're just changing the program because it's a new calendar month? Or is it because any other reason outside of you technically getting stronger and lifting not just heavier than you did 6 months ago, but 6 months before that? You cannot change your body without your training doing something. So it's not about also why it's important to focus on getting stronger or improving form. It is the only way to see progress. You're not going to get a leaner midsection, a tighter midsection if you're under-muscled, if you're under strength, under-stronged. I don't want to say weak, but you know what I mean. If you're under-progressed, there is nothing that tightens you, that tones you, that defines you outside of your training. Yes, you need low enough body fat, but that isn't gonna make you have a harder, tighter, toned look without building the muscle there. And you can't do that if your body always crumbles under load, if you can't squat or deadlift or do split squats without your back taking over, without your hips doing weird stuff. Form matters first and foremost, because only then can you stack things high, strong, wide, set up the runway so you can continue to progress, so you can feel like you're progressing. And if you're always focused on what your scale weight's doing, what your progress photos are doing every single week, or what your pants feel like on any given day, or if they get tight one day, like focusing on all of these external things will never get you to what you expect those external things to be doing in a positive way. Because the focusing on results doesn't get you results. Focusing on, let's just manifest this amazing business, but you don't know how to build businesses. Or let's just manifest this amazing Lamborghini, but you have like 2 cents in your savings account. You're not going to manifest shit. You have to do the work. You have to put in the steps. You have to put the investments in every single day. You need to be focused on the right things. Focus on the training, and it doesn't just give you something to feel like you're progressing or something to work towards. It like, because body composition is such a long journey, it gives you something that helps you stay the process without self-sabotaging, without going to a diet for every summer, without giving in to the knee-jerk reaction, which brings me to the other 2 clients. I'm noticing muscles in areas I've never seen them before. Their form, they're continuously working on their form. They're continuously noting where they're focusing on things, what muscles they're using. It's not just for me, it's for themselves. They fixed their form so that they can continue progressing. They didn't just continue lifting weights from A to B because it feels like it's working. They haven't obsessed about what their calories are doing. I have 2 clients, they were bought into apps for so long that it's just like this thing that they can't get over because of how much better they feel in their progress because they finally have a coach that's progressing them. Even like 4 months later. Like, there is a difference between someone pushing you and you trying to do it alone and just batch of things together and just change things because you're bored, because that's what I would probably do myself, because that's the way I am. I like having someone there as a reflector all the time. But the point of all of this is it's the training that makes the difference. It's the training that builds the muscle. The nutrition is there to support it. You can't build muscle in a deficit. You can build it at maintenance, but not in a deficit, not past that initial phase. If you have more muscle mass compared to the same amount of fat, you'll have a lower body fat percentage because now your muscles up here, your fat's the same. That's called body recomp because you've been building muscle. At some point, you're going to need to push your calories a little bit more this way because if you do this part for long enough, you will only have to do this part once, maybe twice, depending on how much body fat you have, depending on how strict you're willing to be with your diet, and where you're able to build your lifestyle for it, to support it. Because this is where we would rather be able to feed you a little bit more to get in more steps, more energy, be able to keep moving and feed the higher flux state of that. But it also comes down to a lot of genetics. Are you someone who adapts really well to calorie manipulation or not? And this is also where I have the heebie-jeebies with the whole, you're just fine with this amount of protein. Like, if you focus on the right things, you'll get there. It's just the patience element. It's learning the hard way. And I guess we also have to be realistic with the fact that you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Are they manipulating their photos? Are they taking anything that's illegal? What's their lifestyle like? What are they willing to forego and not forego? If we see that as a waste of time, like, well, I'm not doing anything that feels productive. I'm not in a 12-week shred, so what's the whole point investing in X, Y, Z? Well, that is the whole point, because 12-week shreds, you can easily do that shit alone, because you just need to do enough to maintain your muscle mass, and that's just not doing anything nonsensical, and then just slash your calories, whoop-de-doo. It's the other stuff that actually matters most, because fat loss is not the same as getting lean. Fat loss is not the same as building a body composition you're proud of. And that proud element, that confident element, you don't get that from getting a body. You don't get that from hitting an end physical goal. That is not the way that humans are designed. We're designed to feel rewarded in the pursuit of things. There are so many people that have worked their asses off to, like, how many Olympians, how many professional sports people have put their lives, everything into preparing for these, like, 4-second races even. They train for 4 years for that 4-minute time. They might win, but then it's almost, I didn't feel like it was as great as it was, and then they're just on to the next thing. You need to find enjoyment in the process, but when it also comes to the body image does not discriminate. Why else do you think there are people that you would probably see as really skinny calling themselves fat? And there you are like, bro, shut up. Body image doesn't discriminate. It's all a process of feeling in control. Like, I had a client also check in, which is the other one, and she said, I'm so happy that my self-worth isn't tied to how I look anymore, because she went way over her calories one of the days. She doesn't even know how much she went over. But that's the point. You're not always going to be perfect. And something that she always did was she was a yo-yoer. She would crash diet, fast, do keto, no carbs, cardio every single day, boot camps for every single holiday, and then bounce all the way back and forth like a ping pong. Her old coach used to promote this stuff, so it gets ingrained in the head. Just something I'm so passionate about, because it's lifting, chasing strong, feeling like I'm finally able to show up for myself and live this life, something I never thought possible. Because right now, you're not feeling confident in yourself, you're beating yourself up, you're hating your body because you don't feel in control and you're not showing up for the things that you want to do. Just like that client I was talking about before who said that she's happy that it's not tied in. She said she feels fluffy and she wants to dial it in and feel leaner again. So what is she doing? She's planning her meals ahead, deciding to get her shit together. She isn't slashing her calories. Her calories are between 22 to 2,500. She was eating around the 2,500 mark for most of it, and she's friggin' slashed all PRs. I wish I could, like, show them here, because she was so proud of her training. Like, that's what she was celebrating this whole check-in. And she even said, I know I mentioned I was fluffy, but I don't feel a little bit of regret. All she has to do now is actually stick to the meals that she's planned ahead, because she knows that it gives her structure. It's just that she has such a demanding life. She's a high achiever. And you're allowed to have high standards for yourself, as long as they don't become such unrealistic expectations that you hold yourself to absolutely everything, which this very same client has a great analogy for this. She now trains on Saturday mornings, and it's the best session she ever has. She thinks it's because it's after she's had a huge breakfast and coffee that her session is amazing. If you think about training before work or training before commitments, you have the pressure of a time schedule. That is time capping you. You're focused on, I need to have this done by here, so that's always on your mind, versus actually being in the moment, focusing on the training, focusing on what your body's doing. If you're always in a rush for results, it doesn't feel as good. No one feels good. Like, you wouldn't rush an orgasm. You wouldn't rush running out with your heels on and probably poke your eyes out. So it kind of makes sense to... Time's gonna pass anyway, so you can keep doing the same shit that you've always done. Hire the most amazing coach. Hire someone who you think's going to give you the magic answer and think that you're going to somehow get better results, but you won't, because nothing's really changed inside of here. You can physically be doing the same program. You're doing the best program and still never change. So it's not about what you eat and what you train. It's about how you do the things you do and how that has its checks and balances that move you forward. So many people think it's a nutrition thing. So many people think, I'm doing all the right things with my training. If you listen to my podcast with Tracy, she said the same thing. She didn't think that she needed training coaching. A lot of clients came to me in the past thinking they only needed nutrition coaching. I don't offer coaching as a thing. It's what do you need from me to get to where you want to be. I will coach you to that level. But it's so much more than just what your nutrition is doing. And just because you hit 40 doesn't mean that your body responds to calories different or responds to carbs different. It doesn't. The way that you change your training, sometimes we don't even recognize that. Sometimes you just don't have the same power to give stuff, and that's okay. It just means you adapt the plan. One thing that stands above all else is that if you have always been in this yo-yo cycle with your calories and never properly focused on building muscle, your metabolism is gonna get so fucked up when you're older, because it's that muscle, it's that strength, it's the training capacity above all things that will sustain your metabolism, not the muscle per se. It's the training capacity, because your ability to do high amount of high quality work, your energy systems need to be at a certain level for that. I don't know why coaches sometimes rant on about this stuff. It's like, well, that's not the client's fault. They're taught to focus on what you're focusing on. So if you're still doing progress photos every single week, if you're still getting their weigh-ins every single week, if it's all about, are you on track with your food? Are you on track with this? Complaining about not feeling like you're making progress, and then it's just like, well, your food wasn't in line, you missed this. It's like, no. If that's where you're going to focus, then that's where you're teaching them to focus. You need to focus on what matters. You need to measure what matters. They say you can only manage what you measure, and measuring shit matters, whatever they say. I would argue against that, because most of us aren't measuring the right things to get there, which is why I think SMART goals are actually bullshit. Most people don't know what to measure. They don't know what's realistic. Heck, I didn't even know any of that before. It's called being human. And once you get into the process of doing things, you need more than just SMART goals. They're enough to get you out the door. But from there on, you need something that actually has a bite to it, that actually that takes into the context of what the nature of progress is like. Because 1% better every day, or improvements in a linear type of direction to the way that we would expect it, does not exist. Progress goes like this. You start like this. Sometimes you go down a little because you're trying to learn something new. And it's just like, oh my God. And then if doubt sets us in, it just does this, and then you somehow try to get your way out. But it should have a little dip to start with, and then it's like slow. And then it starts to pick up really fast again, and then it's like slow, because then you want to learn something more again. Then it's like this kind of thing, because you can't improve all that. When you've been doing something for so long, you don't improve the same rate. Novice gains. I felt like it was something I really needed to share. It's what I am so passionate about getting out there. No one is expressing the importance of this enough. When you put your focus into something that can actually reward you with something that lasts, a feeling of competence, of strength, when it's not all about, if I'm not seeing progress in this direction, then it's doom or chaos. Having a coach or a mentor just have this externalized, being able to have that reflection point, being able to think through my own thinking, not even have to think about the rest of the stuff, is probably when I made the biggest changes at the beginning as well. It's all about how you want to feel by the end of this. And if you're always on a rush, getting yourself on the way, doing these drastic approaches that never embody you as a human, that make you resent it in a sense, or that make you feel like this can't all coexist, when you continue needing to rely on the scales, because without that, then you panic, cut again, clean things up again. Like, do you want to be doing that your whole life? Whereas strength training, it's the number one thing that matters for our longevity, for our bones, for living a fruitful, zesty life, an independent, strong life later on in the future. It's not just macros, it's not just workouts, and it's not just another plan you follow while hoping your body just magically changes. That is what I do in Team Ruby. And if you don't know how to measure it yet, again, this is what I teach. We look at the things that actually move the needle: your training, your execution, your food. I am so excited and bought into the things that matter in your check-ins. I get you to check in about the right things. I'm constantly asking you and navigating you through the things that matter most and giving a little less weight, because I know that it's not weighing as much in what actually creates results. It just gives a fake sense of progression. Like when you just increase the weights and increase the weights and increase the weights, but your form is getting shorter and shorter and shorter. That's just a fake sense of progress, but nothing's actually changing. That's kind of the same with, if you have that same analogy. When we look at the things that actually move the needle and the way that you measure progress, it starts to become a lot more of a journey that you can see yourself doing ongoingly because you've expanded it. There is so much more meaning in your life and so much more meaning to all of this. So if this hit home, hit me a message with the word recomp, and we can talk about what needs change for you as well, because you can't change your body without your training doing something. And you can't change your body by just focusing on how fast the scale's moving. We have to make sure that the things we are doing are with our full asses and not half-assed. Anyway, I would really appreciate it if you shared this with someone who could benefit from the verbal hug that I am giving. I hope this changes how you walk into your next session. Think about your train. Think about your next lift and how you go through every set and rep. I will talk to you guys on the next podcast.